So at this point, we have our home page and we've separated out our header code and our footer code. But what about other pages? Typically, websites have pages like an About Us page, which is a page that kind of describes the company, just kind of about the company. You might have a FAQ page or frequently asked questions page. That's what FAQ stands for. You could have a contact us page where you could fill out a form and contact the company or the person. So we need to add some pages. Now, WordPress has a way of doing this, and it's called post types. Okay, so there's this concept called post types. So if I go over here to Google and search WordPress post types and hit enter, you'll see there is a post types page in their codex.wordpress.org website. Okay, so remember, this is their documentation website where they kind of explain how WordPress works. And you'll see by default, there are a few default types of post types. Okay, so the first one is the post type. There's also the page post type, and I'll kind of zoom in here so you can see these. There's also the attachment post type, revision. We've already kind of created the navigation menu type. So there's these different types of posts, and what this means is a post type is just a type of content, really. Okay, so the first one, the post type, that's just kind of the default blog post type of content. Page is what we're kind of interested in right now. Okay, we want to create pages, and we want an about page or a contact page, so we're going to use the page post type to do that. Okay, so the way we're going to do that, go over here to Cloud9 and make sure your server is running. So I'm going to click Run Project. And I'm going to go over here and refresh. There we go. The server is running. And I'm just going to go to /wp-admin. So I can go to the admin section and log in if you're not logged in already. Okay, so if I right click and say open link in new tab, I can kind of go over here to see my home page. And I know I'm logged in because I can see the admin bar at the top. And over here in the admin section, you'll see by default, WordPress starts you out with this post section. So that's the blog posts area. Generally, you'd use the post section if you wanted to use WordPress as a blog, or if your company had a blog page, you'd add those posts here. So that's one post type. But the other is pages. Okay, so pages, this is where we can go to add things like the about page or the contact page. Right now there is a sample page kind of dropped in by default. So let's add an about page as if, we're kind of creating like a company about page. So I'm going to say add new, and I'm going to give it a title, and I'll say about us, or you could just leave it as about. And in here in the text area, we'll just say about the company. We'll just leave some placeholder text in there for now. Okay, so I'm going to publish this, and now it has been saved to our database. So if I go over here and refresh, you won't see anything has changed, but we need to now add this page in. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and add it to our navigation menu. Now that we have a dynamic nav menu, we can do that pretty easily. Just go over to our admin section, go to appearance, and then menus. Okay, so we're in the sub menu here called menus, and we can see the most recent page we've added right there, about us. Okay, so we can click on that and say add to menu, and we can drag it however we like. I'm just going to kind of put it over here and then save the menu by clicking the save button. Now if I go back over to our theme and refresh, there we have this about us link up here. So I'm going to click that, and there we go. It's showing our kind of about us title and then about the company. But what template is this using? This is using our only page template that we have right now, the index.php file. Okay, so if we go over here, this index file is not only being used for our home page, but it's also being used for all of our other pages, our blog post page, our about page. So that's where template files come in. If we want to make certain pages look different from others, we need to incorporate template files. So the word page when you add it here, page.php, that's a recognized type of file in WordPress. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to right click over here on the theme folder and say new file. And we're going to add a new template file now. We're going to call it page.php and hit enter. Okay. So just by doing that, now when we go over here to WordPress and we click on this About Us page, or you can just refresh since we're on it already if you look right there. So if I click on this, you'll see I've got a blank slate. Everything just went away. And the reason why is because WordPress knows by default to use this particular spelling, page.php, as your template for any pages that you add over here in the admin section, which over here right now we only have two, sample page and About Us. If we go to those two pages right now, they'll be dead blank pages like this. And that's because we don't have any code in here in the page template. So double click that file, open it up, and let's get it to work. What we can do is very simple. We can actually just copy all of the code from the index file over. So let's copy everything from index.php over to page.php. Now, for best practices, let's change this label up here. We're going to say this is the template for displaying the page type. We'll just leave it like that. So save that. And now let's go over here to our website and refresh. And there we go. It's showing up again. And let's make some modifications really quick. So go back to Cloud9. And the first thing I want to do is get rid of that Jumbotron. We really just want the Jumbotron to show on our home page. This kind of welcome call out. We wouldn't necessarily want this on every page. So I'm going to remove it from our page template so that the About Us, the contact page, all of the other pages won't have this, and only the home page will. So we go to Cloud9, and we can just remove this chunk of code right here, this entire div with its nested div inside. All of that. So let's go ahead and cut that out. Just hit backspace, delete it. Now if we save the file, and remember we did that from the page.php file, not the index. This is our home page. Okay, so if I save this now and go back and refresh, there we go. Now this is starting to look like a kind of background page, like one of the other pages in our site. The home page, if I go over and just kind of remove all this to get to the home page and hit enter, that's still looking the way we want with our welcome call out. But when I go to About, we're seeing this is what it's going to look like for our secondary pages. We've got a template in the works now. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of fix this up a little bit too. We've got this random kind of hard-coded HTML in there, and then we've got the title and the body of the page. So I'm going to go over here to Cloud9. This is that random HTML that's been hard-coded. I'm going to delete that. And then for the title, I'll just wrap that inside of an H2. Cloud9 injects the closing H2 tag, so I'm going to cut that out from that side and put on the other side of the title. Okay, so the title will be generated right here inside of these H2 tags. Okay, so I'm going to save this and then go over and refresh. There we go. Now we've got a bare bones About Us page, and our home page looks more like a home page with this welcome call out here.